I'm Abby with Motor City Nerds. I just want to get right into this. The Knuckles show. What a gem. What a charming gem. I might be biased. Knuckles is my favorite video game character of all time. Idris Elba can do anything, in my opinion. But the Sonic universe in general has been so good, killing it for both adults, people that played the games when we were... My grandma had a Sega. I don't know why, but I think that was the only time, because as a youngest of the group, my sister always picked the first characters, and she got Sonic, I got Knuckles. She got the green frog and Frogger, I got the pink one with a bow on its head. So I had to learn to love these secondary characters, but Knuckles was always the one where I was like, I really don't mind being this one. I really love this a lot. Or if you're like playing in the yard and you're playing as Sonic, and then I have to be Knuckles, and I didn't mind that because he's awesome. But my mom has no clue about Sonic or Knuckles or Tails or anything, and she thoroughly enjoyed Knuckles. She hasn't watched the movies, and the fact that I can sit down and watch the movies with my nephew who's 4 and my other nieces and nephews who are a little bit older and everybody enjoy it says something, and this universe has been killing it. And do you guys remember when they released the first image of Sonic in 2020 or 2019, and we were all like, this is horrifying, change it, and they did. And thank God they did, because I think this is one of the best universes that we've been getting on screen. Now, I'm fully aware this show is for children. I am fully aware that there were some low-hanging fruit in the jokes. I am fully aware that some people didn't like the ending, and it's a placeholder until we get the third one, which it said that Keanu Reeves is signed on to be Shadow, that's what I mean. This is a star-studded show, a star-studded universe, and it's great. And I need to give credit here to all the actors. James Marsden obviously wasn't there. I was like, when are they going to say he's out of town? And they did, because I was like, oh, obviously you don't want to pay James Marsden to be here for 2 minutes. But Tika Sumpter, she's great. And this is genuinely very funny. But specifically her, Adam Pally, who plays Wade, do such a good job, and they're acting with nothing there. When they made all of the adults act like kids a little bit, that was great. But that's the whole point. We're letting kids get the win here, or understand or be able to be on the same level as these characters, even though they're adults. Shout out to Rizzo. That's who the mom is from Grease. Yeah, that's Stockard Channing. Kid Cudi, genuinely funny in this. And like I said, this is for kids, and I was still laughing at stuff. It really did have jams in it. We can't deny that. Right after I watched it with my nephew, I swear to God, we were walking out my side door so he could go ride his bike, and he looked up at me and went, I am a warrior, and he like couldn't say it right, but I was like, yeah, and he loved it, and I'm like, this is so funny and great. But none of it plays totally stupid. Both the movies and this have done really creative things and done things well. This is a good one to show kids if they're, or a younger person, if they're like really liking film in general, to go, okay, look what they did here. Like in the first episode, when Knuckles is talking about being on their battlefield. This isn't a battlefield. Well, it's Wade's, and then Knuckles has his literal battle on that same battlefield in the bowling alley. That's a thing that they don't have to do in a kid's show, and they did. And there are things like that throughout this. Another one I really liked, I didn't know I needed to see Knuckles at Shabbat. But if you take how traditional this character is, with the things his tribe did and the things that he does and how he is and how traditional he is, making that a focal point works because it's such a traditional religion, such a traditional lifestyle. They have these things that they do and stick to. And I'm not saying others don't. Believe me, I was raised hardcore Catholic. There are traditions, but that was smart, and I really liked that a lot. And I'm like, okay, so we're totally going to continue this, and he's going to be the favorite youngest child, right? I loved it, and it was adorable. I loved having the Hound there. That was great. I see Sonic and Tails, but they're not there after the first episode. I didn't know if they were going to keep them there a little too long. And this was when I really knew you guys know your audience. Did anybody else notice the Kingpin references? Yeah, if you've ever seen the movie Kingpin, I almost died when they said this. Kingpin with Woody Harrelson. It's great if you haven't seen it. It's a bowling movie. And Bill Murray's in it. It's great. But the Amish guy looks at Eddie Munson, Woody Harrelson's character, and I'll put the clip in if I can find it, and says, and we're Munsoned out here? And he essentially tells him that means we're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, and we did it to ourselves, and we'll never... He's like insulting the guy right next to him. He's like, you've never heard that term? Munsoned? Because his name is Eddie Munson. And Wade says that in the car. He's like, they got us Munsoned out here. And I was like, no way. And then I was like, oh yeah, it is a bowling thing. That's funny. And the fact that you put that reference in where people of a certain age are going to be the only ones to notice that. Oh my God, slick with it.
But I won't do it. I'd sooner get Munson out here in the middle of nowhere than lose face in front of my friends and family again.
Whoa. What'd you just say?
I said I don't want to lose face in front of my friends and family.
No, before that.
I said I'd sooner get Munson out here in the middle of nowhere.
Munson? What the hell is that?
You know, Munson, To be up a creek without a paddle, to have the whole world in the palm of your hand and then blow it. You know, it's a figure of speech.
What?
But they cover everything. There's never any plot holes with this. Another thing that the entire universe does is, like with the construction workers, which I thought was one of the funniest scenes, they establish that there's damage done and it needs to be fixed. They're establishing that Sonic blew holes in things and there was an issue in San Francisco and the government's watching, and they do a better job than some things for adults. I kind of wish this would have came out a week or two later because, as you guys know, Interview with the Vampire, Favesey's Community to Talk With, and True Detective, and I have a True Detective video up right now, and House of the Dragon are my two big things right now, and they're coming up, and they're so serious, and we talk about such serious things. I kind of wish I had this coming out then. I call shows like this my buffer show, and sometimes it'll be like The Office or something that's easygoing that I can watch to decompress after I watch such serious things. And since I started YouTube, we're not only watching it, we're talking about it right after, and we're talking about such heavy things. So I do like to have a buffer show while I'm winding down. Let me know what your buffer show is, but I feel like Knuckles is a perfect buffer show for that. It's just charming. It's just charming and fun and great. And the guy from Saw and Princess Bride is in it, Carrie Elways, he's great. And I can't believe how many big people are in this. Actually, I can, because this universe has been doing a great job, but Idris Elba as Knuckles is so good. And I don't have much to say about this children's show. Oh, people were going nutso about, like, the dick jokes and stuff, and I'm like, you guys do know that, like, kids think that is funny. And they made this not on Nickelodeon. It's on the streaming service. They did have warnings before every episode, because my friend even said that they were like, wow, they're gonna put, like, foul language or something at the beginning, and then there was another one. But kids think that crap is funny. They do. They think farts and dicks and balls are funny. And so I'm like, they're not being weird, and people were acting like it was so obscene what they did when she's searching him, and I was like, they kind of cut it out of frame, and it is just kind of funny. She's not fondling the kid. She's just, like, he's an alien. Like, man, people will nitpick anything to try and make it worse than it is, and I'm like, you're making it weird. Let me tell you, I have all nephews mostly, except for two nieces, and they think farts and balls and dicks are hilarious, and I don't know why, because I don't joke like that with them. I hear it constantly. TT Abby tooted all the time. You should have saw when my nephew found out Hobart could fart. He was geeked about that. He told us all day how Hobart farted. The other one's getting to an age of, like, touching his dick all the time, and I gotta tell him to stop. And he thinks it's hilarious. And I'm like, we're in public. And then the ending. How did you guys want it to end? Some people were like, oh, it was abrupt, this and that. I'm like, it's a kid's show. He won the bowling tournament, and Knuckles achieved what he wanted to do and train Wade and find a home. What else do we have to have? Would we like a little bit more? Maybe. But we got the point across, and it's for kids at the end of the day. But this was smart, Paramount. This was a smart bet to do it on. This is great. And like I said, there's just so many charming little gems. Is the humor a little low a couple times? Yeah. But like I said, remember that there's kids there, but then there's things in it that I'm like, you wouldn't pick up on that unless you played it or you're an adult. And I highly recommend this. And you can definitely watch this with kids. I watched this with my 4-year-old nephew. He's not even 4 yet. He'll be 4 in like half a month. But he loved it. He was loving it. And the jams are great. And it's Knuckles. This statue of Knuckles my mom got me when I was like 16 or 17, and that's the only one of all these things that has made it every time I've moved. It's one of my favorite objects, but the funniest thing about Knuckles is if you look over here, there's lots of Predator Yautja stuff. Now, The Predator is my favorite movie ever, but that's connected to Knuckles. After my dad died, I could pretty much ask for anything as a 6-year-old, and I would get it. And one of my uncles, like, you know when you have a cousin who's way older, so you call them uncle, he was in from out of town, which score, they're going to get me something anyway. Dead dad life, they're definitely going to get me something. And he was talking about going to Best Buy, and I was like, will you take me, Uncle Mike, and buy me Predator? But I thought, after seeing my mom watching the second Predator on TV, I assumed that was a live-action Knuckles. I had never seen Predator. I didn't know anything about Predator. But I wanted it because I thought that was a live-action Knuckles from my mom watching the second one with Danny Glover and me casually seeing it as a kid. Which, my love for Knuckles has never left. He's my favorite video game character of all time. But it also started something else over here. And there's another Yautja up there. I got Yautjas everywhere. I've read all the comics, everything. I love Predator. I love it. But I would have never had that love if I didn't love Knuckles. So it all comes full circle. But yeah, I highly recommend this. You could totally watch this with your kids. It's totally fun. And if you are a fan of the Sonic universe, I highly recommend just getting the Paramount Plus for a month. And I heard that Halo's getting better. I'm cranking a few things out because I don't know if it's worth keeping long term. But Netflix, I don't know if you are either. Or Prime. I don't know if you guys can. I don't know. But it's definitely worth the free trial or the $5 to crank out Knuckles for sure. It definitely is. And I'm Abby with Motor City Nerds. I'm on OF. I'm on TikTok. Check out my other videos. And yeah, tell me what you thought about the Knuckles series, because I absolutely loved it.